Hey guys, it's me, Ethan, back with another video, and today we're doing another Q&A. This Q&A is for hitting 600 subscribers, and thank you all so much for coming along on my journey. This is another pretty big milestone as a small YouTuber. I'll probably do my next Q&A at 1,000. If you can figure out why, comment down below. Once again, in this Q&A, I'm not going to know the questions in advance, so you'll get to hear my thoughts on the questions and things like that. So let's jump right in.
Billy asks, how many competitions have you won so far?
So last Q&A, I said 15, which was the answer. And then so this last season, I had one competition that I won. And so the answer would be 16. And I've won 16 competitions in my life, and one was in this last season.
Jamel asks, why do you love gymnastics and what other hobbies do you enjoy?
So I love gymnastics because it's just fun to flip around, and it's a tough sport, and it keeps me going, and it's just gives me that drive to do things. And then other hobbies that I have is I like to do Rubik's Cubes. I have quite a few different ones. I have like 8 different cubes, and that's something I like to do on the side. I'd say I'm pretty fast, but then when I look at the like pro cubers, I'm not that fast. I like to play board games with my family, play Minecraft with my brothers, and just things like that. And I love to be outside and do sports and stuff.
Dave asks, what has been the hardest skill or routine to learn?
So there are a few that come to mind with this. The hardest couple skills to learn were, one was a blind change for me, and another was a giant. But I would say probably the blind change and high bar was probably the hardest skill for me to learn. But then the hardest routine for me to learn was probably the P-bar's tech sequence when I was first learning it, because you had to learn a giant and a peach, which were new skills, and those were some of the hardest routines for tech sequence.
Aiden asks, what was the worst meet you've ever had?
The worst meet I've ever had? There's a few that were pretty bad. One of them was either Windy City this last season, or at least in my opinion was Blackjack a couple years ago, which it probably wasn't my worst meet ever, but to me it felt really bad because of how late in the season it was and how bad I felt I did. But because Windy City is only usually our second meet of the season, and Blackjack was towards the end of it. So going into Blackjack, I didn't want to fall like 6 times, but it wasn't a very good meet. But then my worst meet in general was probably Windy City of this last season.
Jay asks, what is your favorite skill that you can currently do?
The favorite skill that I can currently do? I don't know. It might be... I don't know. I don't know what my favorite skill is to do, but I like Yamawaki on high bar. That's a fun one to do. I like to pelt on P-bars is a pretty fun one. It's probably one of those two that would be my favorite, but I don't know. I can't decide what my favorite skill is.
John asks, have you ever been bullied in gymnastics, and if so, how did you deal with it? What would be your advice for kids who are being bullied?
No, I've not been bullied in gymnastics, but some advice that I would give is kind of just ignore them, because if they're bullying you at gymnastics, well then they're just losers, and if they're bullying you outside of gymnastics, they are also losers, and they don't understand how difficult gymnastics is, and they think it's just super easy. and just if someone's bullying you in general, just try to stay positive and try to ignore them and hang out with people who don't bully you and who encourage you. And you have to know going into it that if you are confident in what you're doing and you aren't bullying them back, that you are doing the right thing and maybe they'll have a change of heart.
William asks, what skill do you hope to learn this summer?
Skill that I hope to learn this summer. One of them would be Bovzar and P-bars. I've gotten kind of close on that one. I'd like to learn half in, half out, laid out on high bar onto like competition floor. I'd like to learn half in, half out on rings consistently because I can do it, but it's still not that consistent. And those are some skills that I'd like to learn this summer.
Austin asks, how is 5280?
It's been good. It's a lot bigger gym than TCT. Their level 10 team is probably as big as our whole boys team it was at TCT. And there's a few more coaches helping us instead of just mostly one. And it's been fun to make some new friends, but I also, of course, miss my friends from Minnesota, and I have been staying in contact with them, and it's been fun.
Brandon asks, are you nervous about joining a new team?
I was a little nervous, but going into it, I knew that they would be good guys, or at least I thought they would, and that I would make new friends and they'd be supportive and friendly. And they were really friendly and welcoming. And so I was nervous at first, but then once I got in there, they kind of just went away.
Kai asks, what is your favorite skill on every event?
In every event. So my favorite skill on floor is probably back double full. My favorite skill on pommel horse is probably single pommel Russian. My favorite skill on rings is probably back giant. My favorite skill on vault is probably Kaz. My favorite skill on PRs is probably pelt. And my favorite skill on high bar is probably Yamawaki.
Toby asks, what's crack-a-lackin'?
So, Toby, I'm going to answer that with another question. What's poppin'? So, there's a little bit of backstory to this. So, Toby was our foreign exchange student, if you did not know. We had him come last year, and it was really fun to have him. And as he was coming in, the exchange group leaders or whatever were like, some Minnesota things to say are like, what's crack-lackin' and what's poppin' and stuff. And so when he came and he said hello and stuff, and then he's like, what's crack-a-lackin'? And you're like, I don't know. And then he's like, don't people say that in Minnesota? And we're like, not really. Because the exchange leaders told them that they do, which was pretty funny. And Toby actually has a YouTube channel called Exploring Toby. Go subscribe to him, links in description, or you can search him up.
Trevor asks, what has been the best experience you've had while doing gymnastics?
I have no idea. There's been so many great experiences I've had. I'd say a more broad answer would be just the friends that I've made, not at the gym necessarily, but friends I've made in competitions at other gyms, and the fact that it's not a gym against gym, it's more how well can you do, because everyone's cheering each other on at meets. It's not you're like, oh, fall, it's you're cheering them on because you want them to do good, you just want yourself to do better. So a more specific answer would be Nationals 2019. I did not plan to wear the shirt for this, but it happened. And just because there's some guys that are in different regions, which you don't really see as often. And so it was really fun to meet a lot of guys and see a lot of friends that I've made from other regions.
Jesse asks, why did you start gymnastics and how old were you when you started?
So I started gymnastics because my dad wanted me to do gymnastics just until I was old enough to do wrestling, because he thought it'd be good for me to do that, because he really wanted me to be a wrestler. But then I never stopped gymnastics, and I was 18 months when I started. It was just a little rec class that I probably didn't really do anything, but I started in it, and one of my parents had to be in there and walking me around and stuff. And then once I got a little bit older, to be like 4 and 5, then you started to actually start doing stuff in other rec classes. And then I started team when I was 6.
Ryan asks, are you going to do a double full on floor next year?
Yes. I plan on doing a double full, which is a double twisting layout backwards, and it's a skill that I've been doing it for a while, so I plan on doing that this year, yes.
Daniel asks, what is your favorite event?
High bar. My favorite event is high bar because I love just doing the swinging stuff and flips and stuff, and yeah, it's just fun to swing around it.
Your mom asks, have any of your goals changed?
Yes and no. I mean, my big goals haven't changed, but of course my smaller goals have, like winning Minnesota State. Now it is not going to be winning Minnesota State, it's going to be winning Colorado State and then Region 9 instead of Region 4. But my big goals are still to go to the Olympics, go to bigger elite competitions, and compete for USA in World Championships and the Olympics and things like that.
Your dad asks, who do you want to interview next for your When They Were J.O. series?
So a couple of them would be probably Sasha Artemev, who is my coach at 5280 and was an Olympian, or Yo Moldauer, who was a former 5280 gymnast and comes back every once in a while to train, or any other big-time gymnast, or any other gymnast for that matter who is going to college or is upper level who wants to talk about when they were JO. Thanks to all the guys who put in questions for this Q&A. I will be doing another one at 1,000 subscribers. Remember, if you can figure out why I'm doing it at 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, just comment down below. And share with your friends. Be on the lookout with other videos that'll be coming out. And if you are new here, remember, stick the disc on that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time.